Hey, what's up, boys? So today we're going to look at two different kinds of portfolios since 1972. One of them is your typical all-in total stock market, YOLO, trying to capitalize on the market premium. But the other one involves a little bit of factor tilt because we're going to see what happens when you sort of tilt towards some value investments and value ETFs. So anyways, let's go ahead and look at Portfolio Visualizer. We're going to make our first, first we want to get this to be 1972 to 2021. We'll say cash flows, we'll say $10,000 a month because we are sitting on a lot of cash right now. We'll make this 100. We'll make this US large cap value and this US small cap value. I don't include the medium cap value because it's not really worth it in my opinion. Alright, so let's make this 55. Let's make this 20. That's good. And let's make this 25 and get rid of this. Boom. Okay, so real quick, first impressions. Portfolio number one is typically what you would see in like VTI or VT-SAX, total US stock market, but usually those are like market weighted, right? So they kind of overprice some securities, for example, like Tesla, for example. And then you have portfolio number two, which is still a core US stock market, but it also includes large cap and small cap value. So in other words, you're trying to capitalize on value premium, as well as you can see 25% here, 20% here. The extra 5% is for the size premium, so small minus large. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what happens. This is going to be between 1972 and now. Okay, so you'll notice two different pie charts here. Here is just all US stock market, here is some, and then we have our value tilt. Let's take a look. OMG. Okay, so it looks like our final balance is $493 million for portfolio number one. And the reason I made it like $10,000 a month is because you can see in portfolio two, when that amount of money starts to go in, it's not trivial, the difference. You can see it's $607 million for portfolio number two, which is $110 million more than portfolio number one. So we look at our Sharpe ratio and Sortino ratio. You can see for portfolio number two, it's 0.05 greater, the Sharpe ratio, and 0.09 greater for the Sortino ratio. And obviously the US market correlation for portfolio one, which is just the total US stock market, is 1. And here it's very, very close to 1, but not quite. And that's where our premium comes in. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and make this inflation adjusted. You can see if we started investing in 1972 and up until now, portfolio number one would have a lot of money, $73 million, really, really good. Portfolio number two would have $90 million, so an extra $17 million to spend on your yacht. All right, perfect. All right, now let's look at some annualized returns. So we can see here, actually, let's scroll down first. We can see here our annualized returns for the portfolio number one averages to about, well, this is the compound annual growth rate. So compounded 24.22%, and then portfolio number two compounded is 24.73, so about 0.5% difference, which when you compound it turns out to be a good amount. You can see portfolio number two has increased standard deviation by a little bit, so not exactly ideal, but it's almost very trivial, so it's not really like it matters too much. Let's see. Best year for portfolio number two was 5% more than portfolio one, although they were both really good. And the worst year was even better than portfolio number one by 2%, so that's really good too. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look at annual returns. You can kind of compare it. I want to look at what happened recently, because this is what I think prevents a lot of investors from pursuing the value tilt versus just the regular total stock market. So you can see here, return for 2021 with a value tilt was 23% versus 22%. So right now, 2021 value tilt is doing a bit better, but not by too much. And you'll see why some people are scared. I think, is because here you can see the return in 2020 for value tilt was 13, and for total stock market it was 20. So 7% difference is a good amount, and it was same in 2019, not 7%, just 3%, but it was still, I mean, it's not trivial, the difference, 27% to 30%. And then you can see in 2018, Portfolio 2 performed worse, -7 versus -5. And in 2017, you can see it was again performing worse, 17% to 21%. So 2017 to 2020, like the last 5 years or so, value tilt has not been doing too great. So that's not very good. Luckily though, overall you can see the U.S. stock market tends to underperform value tilt over the long term. So if you are in the game for the long term, I would recommend going with value tilt, but we will have to see how it goes in the 2020s because kind of unprecedented times right now with large cap performing pretty extraordinary. All right, boys. Well, that's about it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll compare maybe some more portfolios in the future, but that's it for this video. All right. See you guys.